Good evening, everyone. So, my name is Evangeline Cardesi, and I'm pleased to welcome you all to this evening's session. So, as you all know, today is International Women in Engineering Day, and this evening session aims to highlight some of the amazing work by women in engineering and technical roles. So we have four amazing female engineers with us who will be spending the next hour sharing their journey and their experience thus far. So before we get into the session, we wanted to make this evening fun and interactive. So to kick things off, we have prepared a short trivia where basically you need to name the woman in engineering from history, basically. So I'm going to launch the poll, and you have 90 seconds to answer all 5 questions. So good luck. Okay, so for those who got to participate in the poll, I'm really glad that you did. So we got 11 responses. I'm going to share my screen now to go through the correct answers. So for question 1, the question was, she is an American software engineer who was the first female engineer to join Google and went on to be the CEO of Yahoo. She has been an integral part of the design and management of both companies. So this female engineer is Marissa Mayer. So for question 2, she has been chosen as one of 27 Cornell University alumni to be featured in Wall of Wonder, Cornell Women Leading the Way in Science, Technology, and Engineering, which is a book highlighting women in the US-based university's alumni community. She's the second Black woman to earn a PhD in mechanical engineering at Cornell. So this female engineer is Dr. Malaika Grayson. Question 3. So for those who are members of the Society of Petroleum Engineers, I really hope you all got this question correct. So the question is, she was the Society of Petroleum Engineers' first woman president in 1998. And this is Deanne Craig. Question 4. In 1918, she became the first woman to earn an electrical engineering degree from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. And in 1921, she received her first patent for the Clark calculator, a device that was used to solve electric power transmission line issues. And that is Edith Clark. And the last question, she's the current head of communications and advocacy and vice president of corporate operations for BP Trinidad and Tobago. And she was a guest speaker on UTT SPE's Diversity and Inclusion session last year. So last but not least, this female in engineering is Giselle Thompson. So thank you all for participating in our short activity, and we will jump straight into the session. So first up, we have Kelly Martinez. Kelly graduated as an industrial engineer from the University of the West Indies. She's currently pursuing her master's in industrial engineering. She's an integrity engineer too at Trinidad Inspection Services Limited, Point Lisas. And furthermore, she's heavily involved in ministry at her church, and she loves going to the movies. So Kelly, the floor is all yours.
Thank you, Evangeline. Good afternoon, everyone.
Afternoon.
Let me know when you're seeing my screen, please.
Yeah, we're seeing the screen.
Okay, so like Evangeline said, my name is Kelly Martinez, and I'm an integrity engineer who works at Trinidad Inspection Services Limited, TIS. So this is basically an outline of what I'm going to speak about today. Education, why I chose engineering, work experience, journey from student to professional as a female, and advice for upcoming female engineers. So just to give a brief background about my education. In secondary school, I did sciences, both at CXC and CAPE levels. Then I went on to the University of the West Indies, whereby I had done 1 year in geomatics and then switched to industrial engineering. Currently, I am pursuing my MPhil in industrial engineering. So why I chose engineering? Because it is a prestige of being an engineer, it's a good paying job, and several family members, including my brother, did engineering. And in case you're wondering why I chose industrial engineering out of all the other engineering disciplines, it focuses on improving processes to make them more efficient, which saves money, time, and manpower. This slide basically shows my work experience. So I've worked in industry for the past 7 years and in the oil and gas industry for approximately 4 years. So in 2013, I would have graduated, completed my degree, and graduated 2013, right? And I would have started working at PCS Nitrogen Limited as an intern there, and then I went on to as a research assistant in the Office of Graduate Studies. And in 2014 to 2016, I would have started at MIC Institute of Technology. So in there, I was exposed to pneumatics and hydraulics, welding, workshop technology. My final year project was based on designing, developing, and implementing a visual preventive maintenance system for the workshop department, and that was using Excel. In 2016 to 2017, I worked at Incotech as a trainee inspection engineer, where I was in one of the plant annoying turnarounds, as well as we worked on a failure analysis report. And in September 2017 is when I started my MPhil, and as a full-time student, but then I had gotten a great opportunity at TIS and started working there in January 2018.
Callie, we're seeing your other screen. You should swap your screen to the, we're seeing the presenter's view.
Okay, how do I?
So stop sharing and then select a different when you're clicking share screen, make sure you select the screen that's going to be used for the presenter view.
Okay, let me stop sharing. Better there now?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay, great, thanks. So at Trinidad Inspection Services, I started in 2018 as a trainee integrity engineer. In there, I had gotten to go the opportunity to go offshore, and whereby we had done UT and VT, where UT means ultrasonic test and thickness, and VT is visual testing. We had done that via rope access. Some of the courses that I would have done would have been MPI PT, so MPI is magnetic particle testing, PT is penetration testing, NACE level 1, OCAT. In 2019, I've moved from a training integrity engineer to integrity engineer 1, and I was still going offshore, but doing other stuff. So we worked on tenders, I did the API 510 course, plant turnaround, and also building workbacks. In 2020 was when I got based at LNG through TIS, and I'm currently there. And my role there is team lead. So team lead and inspection engineer for one of the trains. Being a team lead, I do planning, coordinating, organizing paperwork to facilitate payment, organizing job activities as when I'm required by the client, tracking manpower, and many others. As an inspection engineer, we develop the scope of work for upcoming jobs. For example, we had like a plant walk down, and in there we had to estimate the duration, time it would take to complete the job, the manpower required, and develop the actual scope for it. I had worked alongside with the inspector for that train as well. And yes, the job is regular working hours, but sometimes we go beyond working hours in order to get the job done and meet the client expectations. So what is an integrity engineer? An integrity engineer is someone who is based in the inspection department and one who ensures that the optimum integrity of the company's assets. A lot of plants and petrochemical facilities have two main categories of assets, static and rotating. My job portfolio deals with static equipment. And when I say static, I mean non-moving parts such as vessels, piping, and tanks. One role of the inspection now is to detect damage mechanisms in these equipment. So in the event there is a leak or a breach in containment, inspection personnel would also assess the failed equipment and provide like recommendations on how to fix it. So that's where the NDE techniques come in. And we use ultrasonic testing thickness, where we determine the metal loss, MPI and PT, which is the magnetic particle inspection and penetrant testing, to detect cracks, advanced NDE techniques such as the quantitative short range to determine wall loss. So how does engineering link with inspection? So we do engineering calculations like the MAWP, which is the maximum allowable working pressure, the fit for service analysis, and other calculations such as corrosion rate and remaining life. And we use codes to guide these inspection and repairs, right? The codes that we use are API and ASME codes. API is the American Petroleum Institute, and ASME is the American Society of Mechanical Engineers. So for example, for vessels, we use like API 510, ASME Section 8, piping 570, ASME to B to the 1.3, and tanks API 653, API 650. So from being a student to a professional as a female, given that engineering is like a male-dominated field, people tend to assume that women as being shy and easy pushover, and this actually has motivated me to be even stronger, both mentally and technically. As a female engineer, you need to ensure that your confidence in making decisions and voicing your opinions are second to none. For those of us who are not blessed with these traits, this might be an ongoing process. And just remember that persistence is key. My advice for upcoming female engineers are to be confident. You do adequate research prior to making decisions. In case you all may wonder, what is rope access? It is a safe method of working at heights where ropes and associated equipment are used to gain access to and from the work position and to be supported there. And that's the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kelly, for sharing, especially your pictures in the end, seeing, your experience offshore. It's really inspirational because I know for me, I definitely would want to experience going offshore. So I'm really glad you shared that.
You're welcome. Yeah, the first time I had to go offshore, I was extremely excited.
Was it in terms of like you went via boat or helicopter?
Helicopter.
And was it terrifying at first, or you enjoyed the thrill of it?
Yeah, I enjoyed every moment.
Well, that's good to hear. So our next speaker is Onella Sookhansingh. Onella graduated as a mechanical engineer with honors from the University of the West Indies in 2016 and was hired by Trinidad Inspection Services Limited, Point Lisa. She is trained as an NDE, Alea, NACE, and API inspector, and additionally as an IRATA Level 1 rope access technician, attaining almost 4 years work experience in the oil and gas sector, both on land and on offshore facilities. Thus far, she was recently awarded the position as an integrity engineer too, as she continues to work hard and excel within the company, meeting the needs of her employers as well as her clients. Onella is a dog mom of a very jealous rescue dog. She continues to assist animals in need, and like most Trinidadians, she loves the beach and enjoys outdoor activities when the Saharan dust concentration is low. So, Onella, the floor is yours.
Hi, good evening, everyone. You're all hearing?
Yeah.
Hi, thanks for the introduction, Evangeline. Kelly, good job. Thanks for setting the bar very high. I did not have a presentation made, so I just wanted to keep it like a chat instead of being extremely formal, get to know each other. First of all, I'll be honest, I have a fear of public speaking, so please forgive me if I am not perfect at this. So as Evangeline said, my name is Onella Sookhansingh. I will not give my age, but I will say that I have 4 years experience in the oil and gas industry thus far. I started my career at Trinidad Inspection Services, and I have developed as a female engineer from graduating from UU until now through that company. A little history about myself. I grew up in a single parent home. I have one older sibling who is also a mechanical engineer. I would like to believe that she followed me since she graduated after me. And growing up in a single parent home, you see the sacrifices that are made and you see how strong, well, in my instance, my mom was. And that kind of had driven me to become a very independent woman and to make the sacrifices that she has made in order to excel in life, and to accomplish things and pretty much not disappoint her. So throughout high school, usually by Form 3, when you have to choose subjects, everyone is just confused as to what they want to do. But in my instance, I actually knew that I wanted to do sciences, and mainly because I have 2 older male cousins, both are mechanical engineers, and they kind of were my motivation. Somehow coverall and steel tips was a little more my thing instead of fancy shoes and sitting in the office. So I actually set my mind to become a mechanical engineer since Form 3, and it's something that I have worked towards throughout the years in Form 6 and UWE and whatnot. In lower 6, I had the opportunity to attend the Caribbean Youth and Science Forum, which is hosted by NIHUS. And that forum basically gives youth the opportunity to meet and greet other fellow scientists, engineers, anybody working in the industry. So from that forum, we met a lot of people who actually drive me even more to liking engineering and going into the science field. Specifically, I got to meet and interact with Ms. Camille Waldrop, who is actually an aerospace engineer with NASA. And similar to how we are having this discussion about females in the industry, she had the same impact on me when I was just 16, 17. So, and that's stuck with me throughout the years, and it's something that motivates me daily when you think about how strong a woman in the science industry or in the engineering industry can be. So throughout UWE, got selected to mechanical engineering. It was not a bed of roses. It was definitely something difficult. It was not as easy as I thought or as easy as my cousins made it look. I struggled. There were tears, of course, times where you just wanted to give up. But then you just stop and look at how far I came, and you realize it's not worth it to give up so fast. So that's why I just keep working towards it. And of course, I graduated. It was the happiest day of my life, probably thus far. So truly was one thing, one struggle. Finding a job was definitely another struggle, because at the time when I graduated, the engineering field was very saturated. I was home for a couple of months, almost a year. And of course, like any good mother, she was going through the newspapers and she found a little ad in the corner of a sheet for Trinidad Inspection Services looking for mechanical engineers. And she was like, you know what, just apply and see if you get through. So my sister and I both applied on the same day. We got called on the same day for the interview. When we went to the interview, it went well. And when they called back after a few days, they called my sister first. And I was there like, why am I not good enough? Why did I not get called? Did she get the job and I didn't? And of course, it was a whole theatrical scene because I was there home longer than her, thinking that I didn't get a job. But in the end, I did get called even a few days after. So like tears for nothing. I was just feeling sorry for myself for nothing. And I got the job. I started my career in 2018 with Trinidad Inspection Services. Thankful to them that they didn't, like other companies I applied to, of course, a lot of companies turning you down because you didn't have experience. In one instance, I actually contacted a company. I was so desperate, I contacted the company through the Mobile Business Directory. And the man was like, we're not hiring at this point in time. So I was like, okay, could I send my interview so when you're all hiring, you all can consider me? He was like, oh no, we're not hiring females. So when you hear something like that, you feel demotivated a little bit. And I did. And then when I get the job at Trinidad Inspection Services, I was so thankful for it. Even up to now, I am thankful for it, especially in these times to always have a job. It's something to be grateful for. So we started in TIS as mechanical engineers. Then we went through numerous training, as Kelly had mentioned, NDE training, which is non-destructive testing. I did something called Alea, which is inspection of rigging equipment or any lifting equipment. So things like when you're driving on the highway, you see these CCUs, these containers on the trucks. So things like that to inspect cranes, any kind of, whether it be a pedestal crane or a gantry crane, those kinds of things. I did API 570 recently, so I'm now a qualified piping inspector. I also have NACE level 1 and OCAT, which is corrosion technician. Additionally, Kelly, Alea, and myself, as well as my sister, who is also employed with TIS, and another female engineer, we became a few of the first female rope access technicians in the Caribbean. And having that qualification is something extraordinary, I would say. So you'll be offshore, and rope access is basically being suspended on ropes, meters, like 20 meters and above. I went as high as 100 meters above sea level, just being suspended from ropes doing my inspection. Having that experience and the feeling of adrenaline rush is something that it's undescribable. And I am very thankful for TIS for that. But the experience that I have gotten in the field thus far is something eye-opening, something that I would continue to develop myself at. Yes, work is fun most of the time, but there are times where it isn't great. I mean, along the way, you'll have to deal with some people that you have no idea how to deal with them in a professional manner, but you find a way to figure it out. It's just something that if you do not know your character and your worth and who you are as a person, you will not be able to face them. I probably didn't do that for a while. I didn't know how to face anybody, but throughout the years, when you get experience and you learn how to deal with people and you know your worth and you know your capability of what you can do as a female or as a woman in the industry, you'll find a way to work around it or work through it. Back to the rope access, where I don't want to just be feminist to say, but when you're also doing rope access, there are men who look at you and be like, they would never do that because of they're scared of heights or they're just intimidated. And that is one thing that you learn when you're in industry. You'll feel like, okay, you're going in as a female, you'll be intimidated. But when you work around people, you realize that a lot of them is about equality. And it's something very refreshing. You don't have to feel awkward, or because people always ask, do you feel awkward working in a male-dominated field or being on an offshore facility where it's mostly males? But it's nothing like that at all, at all. It's something that you feel at home at once you're comfortable. And being a female engineer is something that you would truly enjoy. if it was one of your goal, like me from since Form 3, if you like steel tip more than high heels, anything like that, you'll enjoy it more and more each day once you get more experience. And I have no regrets. I definitely do not. I would encourage females into the engineering field. Go into it with no fear whatsoever. Even for the males too, equality is everything. Don't be intimidated by a woman doing her boxes, basically. But everything is good. It's I think as of lately, a lot of company has diversified, so there isn't any kind of thing as looking down at anyone as such. And that's basically my message today: to know your character, know your work, and work towards your goals. So that's it from me.
Thank you so much, Onella, for sharing. That was very inspiring. I know you said you aren't really good with public speaking, but I think that was really well done.
I am nervous.
I think that was really well done and well received as well. So let's move right along. So we have our third speaker, who is Alea Ali. Alea graduated as an industrial engineer from the University of the West Indies. She worked as a junior engineer at Grand Bay Paper Products and Methanex Trinidad, and is currently an integrity engineer too at Trinidad Inspection Services Limited. So Alea.
Hi everyone, good evening. I'm just going to share my screen. Let me know when you're seeing.
Yes, seeing the screen.
Okay, so unfortunately I did this presentation on a tablet and a program, so it's not going to be in a presentation format, so hopefully you all seen it properly. I'm not going to keep you guys long because I know if you're like me, you're thinking about what's for dinner already. So just to give you an introduction, hi everyone again, good afternoon. Evangeline, thank you for the opportunity that you have given us today. I think something like this I would have appreciated while I was at school, or even as pursuing engineering, or even when I was in high school. It's something really good for us to empower women and encourage women to do engineering, to share experiences, the good, the bad, and the ugly, so that we can, promote women and not have women go through the terrible experiences that some of us may go through sometimes as women in engineering and oil, gas, and manufacturing industries. So, hi everyone, my name is Alea. As Evangeline mentioned, I did industrial engineering at UE, and then when I finished, I got my first job as a junior industrial engineer at Grand Bay Paper Products. So that was the manufacturing industry. And then I jumped in to be an engineer trainee at Methanex Trinidad Limited. That was my first experience in the oil and gas industry. It was a great learning experience. I got to dip my toes into what it really is to be a engineer in oil and gas. And now I'm an integrity engineer too at TIS for the past 4 years. So I'm not greatly experienced in the oil and gas industry. I have a lot to learn, but I have some experience where I know that is something I do enjoy. And I think when you do enjoy what you do as your career, then you excel at it. You want to work more, you want to do better. The last point I have there is I'm a self-proclaimed professional Photoshopper. You'll see some of my skills later on in the presentations here. So we'll just move on. As Onella mentioned, she just wanted to have a conversation, and I think I'm on the same page with that. I think we just want to hash out things here and talk about our experiences. They are similar to what Kelly and Onella mentioned before. Yes, going offshore, being a rope access inspector is all fun and games. It's nice to prove yourself and show yourself that you can do just as much as your male counterparts. So it's been fun doing things like that, and it's really just what you've learned as an engineer, as a student, going to be an engineer, really develops your critical thinking. So for me, I was fortunate enough to have more positive experiences being a female rather than negative, although it was few. A lot of times it was because of the environment and the people I share my experiences with. So at school, being a student pursuing industrial engineering was a program that I really enjoy doing. But I enjoy doing it because of my peers and my lecturers. So I can mention two lecturers right now, Dr. Jacqueline Bridge and Scylla Benjamin. They were really good and instrumental in promoting you as women in engineering and guiding you on coaching. And I think that's something that we should all take as we progress in our careers. For young engineers and upcoming persons in the industry as well, we need to be those coaches. We need to be positive mentors and guides for those who are coming in, because we know what it is to struggle. We know what it is to not have assistance. So why not be that point of solace for those who are coming in? So for me, being in engineering, being able to feel included in group work, being able to feel included in lectures, being not afraid to speak up to lecturers, ask questions, are stuff that some women don't feel safe to do. They don't feel that they have an environment where they can speak up. And something like that, because it's a male dominated field, I hope that we are making the change towards to progress and grow females as in engineering. So we don't want to, sometimes we may have negative attributes that are negative things that are attributed to us being females. And I think we need to get out of those norms. We need to get out of the norms of female bosses being stoic and, being modern day Margaret Thatchers, because we can do things, and it's been proven. There are a lot of studies that prove that, Harvard and MIT, and lots of studies that show that having a diversified team is actually more successful than having just one gender team. So it's not here to bash any males or anything, because I think it's really just to show that, and we need to think about things in equity and realize people's strengths and weaknesses and create a level playing field that where women can succeed, especially in fields where we weren't allowed to just a few years ago to not be a part of. So we need to celebrate our accomplishments, know that we can bring up each other, and especially for women who are passionate about being engineers. With your peers who are passionate about being engineers, with upcoming students, with people who are thinking about doing engineering, we need to encourage each other. We need to, never stop promoting each other to be better. And I think it's about creating that slant for us to do that. For me, when I going back to high school here, which was many moons ago, I did not know what I wanted to do. I love sciences, so I know I wanted to do maths, physics, chem, the basic foundation for most engineering students. But to say what type of engineering or any sort of medicine, I did not know what I wanted to do. I had to do research. I didn't have anybody to coach me. My sister was pursuing mechanical engineering, so I had some idea of what mechanical engineering was. But to say, oh, I would have chosen mechanical over another engineering, I had no idea. So I had to do my research, and I think a forum like this, we should invite students who are thinking about doing engineering as well, because yes, there is Google, and you can get what each type of engineering entails and what type of jobs you can get. But I think getting a personal experience will always help and be able to help students make a decision as to what they will be able to enjoy doing as a career and continue pursuing. So I just wanted to say, I've had positive and negative experiences, thankfully, more so positive experiences for being a woman. My first supervisor in the oil and gas industry was a woman. And I mean, she was hard on me. It wasn't easy. It wasn't easy being a woman in maintenance and in engineering. But I think these experiences, she did these things, and I think is what I learned from her as well, is about critical thinking and being independent, because you don't want to be in a situation where somebody is going to doubt you, and then you have to prove yourself by the things that you know and your knowledge and your experiences. So I encourage women to be that way, to be independent, to be critical thinkers, and also not to fear asking questions, because sometimes you might hear a woman has to work twice as hard to get half of what a man can get in this industry and being an engineer. But having a fear of speaking up or asking questions doesn't mean that you're weak. it means that you just want to do the right thing. And I think that's something that I have to take away all the time. Sometimes I'm afraid to ask questions because I don't want to come across as not knowing. But if not, you don't want to leave, you want to go into something and leave it with knowledge, leave it gaining something, so that you don't you don't let yourself put a barrier between you and getting ahead. So I think for me, that was me navigating as a female engineer, is really just not only encouraging my female coworkers and myself to push the bar, to test the bar, to continue educating yourself. I mean, leaving school as an engineer and coming to be an inspector right now is a lot of different training that you had to put yourself through. All the API 510, 570 to be piping inspectors and vessel inspectors is totally different from what you would learn at school. So it's really just to let yourself know that the education never stops, the motivation never stops. So that's it for me. I mean, I put my last slide here as my contact if anybody wants to talk to me. And yeah, on the left hand side, I don't have any pictures of me on the job. So I use my, very professional Photoshopping skills and Photoshop a mask on a Muslim girl in the construction industry. So yeah, I mean, that basically is what I look like on the job as well. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks so much, Alea, for sharing. And I definitely agree with you in terms of speaking up more because, I mean, throughout my journey as well, that's one thing that I struggled with, asking questions and really being afraid that the answer that I have for a question might be wrong. So I definitely agree with you on that note. So thanks so much. So our last engineer, female engineer that we have, I would say, I guess, last but not least, we have Priyanna Oudit. So Priyanna is a recent electrical and computer engineering graduate from UWI St. Augustine with a specialization in controls, instrumentation, and automation. She's a director in her family's business, Trifactor Technical Sales and Services Limited. She is the first female engineer in the company, and her focus is with the renewable energy sector of the business. Priyanna has been expanding her knowledge base and building her experience in solar, wind, and other renewable energy systems, including recently obtaining a license as a certified PV installer from the Electronic Technicians Association in the US, and completing a solar pumping applications course with Lawrence, Germany. She is also widening her reach by currently pursuing sales in industrial products and services. She fiercely believes in the empowerment of women through legal and social support, as well as psychological and moral upliftment. Priyanna was a member of the South Gathering and an executive member of Resilience Greece, both women's empowerment groups. She's also a strong advocate for animals and their welfare and is very active in raising awareness regarding underrepresented minority groups and other issues that affect modern-day Trinidadian society. She uses her social media platforms to raise awareness and start important discussions with the aim of creating a brand synonymous with these important issues. Priyanna hopes to always find a way to marry her career with her passion, creating sustainable solutions for real-world problems. So Priyanna, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much for such a wonderful introduction, Evangeline, and thank you to the girls before me, the women before me who have spoken and shared their experiences. Let me just jump right into it. I'm gonna share my screen. Let me know if you all are seeing my presentation.
Yeah, we're seeing it.
Okay, great. So my career portfolio and my presentation are both a bit different than the other presenters who presented before me. My name is Priyanna Oudit, and today I'm honored to be one of the speakers on this panel. Thank you to Evangeline and thank you to UTT SPE for having me today. A bit about International Women in Engineering Day, or INWED. INWED is the world's biggest initiative celebrating the achievements of women in engineering and allied professions. Even though they are still hugely underrepresented in their professions, INWED gives women engineers around the world a forum to empower, educate, and effect change. It plays a vital role in encouraging more girls and young women to take up engineering careers. That said, my role here today is not to go on about facts about myself, what my favorite food is, where I grew up, or who my favorite Marvel superhero is. Although I must say Hulk is the purest form of badassness in all the movies, I said what I said. On the topic of Marvel and superheroes though, I must highlight the very interesting, very empowering theme of this year's INWED, Engineering Heroes. Now, I for one don't believe I'm a hero of any kind, although my boyfriend calls me Superwoman, my friends and family occasionally call me super inspiring. Oh, and my brother calls me super annoying sometimes. A little outline of how I'm going to present today. I'm going to speak about the issue. I will give you all a little bit of insight on my personal journey, what the problem is, and I will focus on the solutions by giving some personal advice, talking about the big picture, and talking about how men can involve themselves. Introduction of the issue. So let me start off with some statistics and study results. According to the Women's Engineering Society UK, the latest statistics show that just under 13% of the worldwide engineering workforce is female. In an overview of diversity in the workplace statistics to know, for 2020, Nick Perry said that men are twice as likely to get hired for any job, regardless of the hiring manager's gender. There was a tracer study focused on UE, Trinidad and Tobago, but before I go on to that, I will speak on the 41% of managers that state that they are too busy to implement any kind of diversity and inclusion initiatives. The tracer study focused on Trinidad and Tobago nationals who graduated from the Faculty of Engineering UE over the period 1995 to 99. The study was undertaken to assess the current status of the engineers who graduated over this 5-year period. Some of the main findings were the total number of TT nationals who graduated were 638. However, of this total, 75% were males and 25% females. The ratio of male to female here was 3:1. By areas of specialization, males outnumbered their female counterparts significantly in the areas of mechanical engineers with a 9:1 ratio, electrical and computer engineering and surveying with a 4:1 ratio. However, a considerably smaller gender disparity was observed in chemical and process, civil and industrial engineering with a 2:1 ratio. Now, what do all of these statistics and numbers tell us? I will speak about that in a little bit. First, I want to speak a little bit about my personal journey. We hear a lot about the struggles of women in engineering, those daunting hurdles we have to cross over in a male-dominated field. In fact, in one of my year 1 courses at UE, I had a lecturer explain to me why I shouldn't be lifting a chair because of and he just moved his hands in the general direction of where I can only assume would have been where my womb would be. I've had lecturers who acknowledge and listen to when male students speak and condescendingly put down the female students. So yes, you're probably even going through a lot of the same things now, and it doesn't end there. I cannot begin to tell you the number of times I've had people who call the office line asking about solar and renewables and refuse to believe that I, the woman that they are speaking to, can explain the working of a solar system to them, let alone design the entire solar system from scratch. The problem here is not any single or individual person who I've had these experiences with. I believe that the problem is much larger than that. We have to widen our view to the bigger picture. Yes, the issue festers in our individual attitudes, perceptions, and stigmas towards women, but I believe that these are a result of social conditioning and widespread cultural and religious stigmas. The problem, I just realized I spelled problem wrongly, pardon me. The problem lies in the lack of diversity and inclusion at the core of all decision-making, the legal, socioeconomic, political, cultural, etc. The first solution I would like to offer, the first set of solutions I'd like to offer is some personal advice. Today, I'm not going to get into the root of the problem because my intention here is to find a way to empower you by giving you real-world solutions by exploring both my personal experience of overcoming these hurdles and some suggestions for more broad career type strategies and solutions. You'll have a lot of experiences similar to mine, and maybe even worse, but my hope is that we can all, as women and men, forge a new path forward, where these experiences become less and less, where women can be treated with equity and respect, until we don't have to put the word female in front of the engineer. I'm here to tell you, young women of UTT and all others listening in, to be unapologetically yourself. A lot of women and girls believe that going into a male-dominated field means you'll only be taken seriously if you hide your femininity and act like one of the guys. Now, my experience is that people tend to respond well to assertiveness and confidence, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with it if this is how you want to be. And please note that both of these characteristics have nothing to do with being quote-unquote masculine. My point is to keep doing you. If that means you put on makeup every day to come to class and wear skirts instead of pants, do that. If that means you put on baggy sweatpants and a tee with a little Air Max or Converse on your feet, then do that too. Don't ever hide who you are. And you know what the best part is? People respond to that. I was and still am a loud, brash, call out the patriarchal structure of our society type of person. And I never hide that side of me. In class, I would continue to make my points even when I would see a male lecturer hiding a smirk or trying to ignore me, and then keep talking when the smirk turned into surprise because they didn't expect me to impress them. I post my fet and swimmer pictures on the beach when we were able to go out online, pre-COVID. And I demand that people still take me seriously because those activities don't define who I am, and they should not affect how people view me in the professional world. I choose to live my truth. My truth is that I'm a young engineer, determined to shatter glass ceilings so that the women after me do not face the same struggles that I did. My truth is also that I enjoy socializing and dressing up when I'm ready. I also believe in proactively lifting other women up. Showing up for them, supporting them, and setting aside this crazy idea that another woman is your competition. Your only competition is with yourself. Don't let society's box fit you into a mold to suit them, because women are breaking barriers every day. And some of you can be the next Kimberly Bryant, founder and CEO of Black Girls Code, a training course that teaches basic programming concepts to girls who are underrepresented in technology careers. Or Christina Koch, who broke the record for the longest single space flight by a woman at NASA. You can also be Evelyn Wang, the head of Department of Mechanical Engineering in MIT, whose work to convert heat from solar cells into light beams was named as one of MIT Technology Review's top 10 breakthrough technologies of 2017. Or you could even be like Ramil Shah, head of who is advancing the biomaterials and tissue engineering fields with her expertise in developing new biomaterial strategies for tissue and organ engineering. And that's another thing. We hear a lot about the Elon Musks and the Bill Gates of the world. And yes, their accomplishments are truly amazing and have changed the course of human history. But I hope that you also take the time to learn more about female engineers and any woman around the world who's also doing their part to make a difference. The other solution, the big picture. You are all budding engineers or budding professionals in your field of study. As an engineer, your fundamental role is to solve problems on a small personal level, or maybe even a slightly larger company-wide scale, or regional and global solutions. I want us all to think about these statistics. 1, highly gender diverse executive teams are 21% more likely to outperform on profitability. 2, gender diverse companies that have gender diverse executive boards are 27% more likely to have superior value creation. 3, companies with equal men and women earn 41% more revenue. Diverse teams are 70% more likely to capture new markets and 87% better at making decisions. And lastly, companies that have highly inclusive cultures have 2.3 times more cash flow per employee and are 120% more likely to hit financial goals. What do these statistics mean? What do they tell us? As a director and stakeholder in my company, I constantly ponder improving personal and employee efficiency via strategy, calculated decisions, and thinking ahead. As seen in the statistics, there are many proven benefits of encouraging diversity by bringing more women to the table. We have to keep thinking big picture. You will eventually have to think about how you can get into the conversations for diversity, you, the students of UTT, and inclusiveness from the perspective of being an employee and one day, maybe even a CEO of your own business. The solution: how can men assist? How can men become involved? For the men here, and I see that there are many involved in this webinar, and I'm really glad to see that. Men, I haven't forgotten you at all. In a time where there's a lot geared towards women and their empowerment and upliftment, I want you to understand that this is not a negative thing at all. In fact, it is quite the opposite. Your roles in this not so complex equation is very important. I urge you to lend an ear and really listen to what women are saying. This is important. Show your support to women in the field. Show up to women in engineering webinars and any other webinars that encourage women empowerment. Pull up on your brethren, your family members, and your lecturers if you notice any form of discrimination or bias against a woman. While it is really difficult already to just pursue a career in engineering, women face many struggles in the field and outside of it. I urge you to speak up and demand more respect for your fellow female classmates, employees, and friends, whether it is in the classroom, your workplaces, or out on the road. Your voices are very important and they're required to further empower women in engineering and women in general. I urge you to look at the bigger picture. When you also are an employee or a CEO of your own company, understand how important it is to have respect, inclusiveness, and diversity as part of society in every aspect. In conclusion, you will face many issues, personal, in the workplace, and at school. However, you must remember that the solution lies within you via your personal efforts and pursuits and focusing your sights on the big picture. That actually concludes my presentation. I've put a little slide here with a little bit of my information in case anybody wants to reach out. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Priyanna, for just spitting facts, literally, and being being yourself. Really,
yes.
I mean, from seeing your posts on social media to hearing you speak here today, I can see that, you know, you really stand by what you say. So I'm really glad for that. So
thank you so much.
Yeah. So I know we are pressed for time because we said we'd be finishing at 6. But if anyone has any questions, we could take a few questions and then end off. So feel free to send any questions in the chat or unmute your mic. Yeah. Okay, we have a question here from Lachelle. So how have you all dealt with the rejection faced when job hunting? So I'm not sure who wants to take that question first.
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
How have you all dealt with the rejection faced when job hunting?
Well, I guess, I don't know if Onella, Kelly, Alea, anybody wants to answer. I was fortunate enough to fall into my father's company and now the company that I'm a director of in Trifactor Technical. So I may not be the best candidate to answer that question.
Hi, so I will take that question. So since I graduated UE until I was employed at CIS, I probably went to about more than 5 interviews, all of which turned me down for different reasons. 1, we're not hiring females. 2, you may not be capable of the work as it's on a man field. 3, you don't have enough experience. So when you're applying for a job, you'll get turned down for a lot of reasons that you didn't think that people are so shallow-minded. But how I dealt with it, I kept trying. That is why I say I did not give up. You look at how far you have come, what you have went through studying, even through high school, through UTT, or wherever you are studying. You look back at how far you have came and you do not give up. You keep trying. And some people, their processes might be faster than others. You might be more successful or smarter, and you know somebody who is probably less capable got a job and then you're still waiting, just have patience, and what is for you, and you will get it.
All right. Thanks, Onella. Alea and Kelly, you ladies want to share as well on that question? I have another question that is geared towards, I guess, either anyone from TIS and Priyanna as well. So my question is, what is the ratio of female to male in your workplace?
Okay, I'm gonna jump on here first since fortunately there are 1, 2, 3. I would say the ratio male to female is probably very close to, it's probably about 2 to 1 male to female in my company, which is honestly a pretty good ratio, I would say.
Okay, that's good.
Hi everyone. So at TIS, we are growing as a company, and as we grow as a company, we also grow in the amount of females that we have. So whilst there may be more males than females right now, there is a move to hire more females, and it's been a positive move, especially within the engineers. And it's not only engineers, it's inspectors, engineers, and every facet of the company that has females. And it's a slow growth because oil and gas is male dominated, but we're moving to that space where, you know, females are seen as equal. And it's something that I've seen. I mean, I've been at TIS for just 4 years, but I've seen the move to increase in females on the workforce, and it's been positive so far.
Okay. Anyone else has any more questions?
So Evangeline, hi. Neil Ramkalawan, I have a question for the panel. So first of all, to Kelly, Onella, Alea, and Priyanna, congratulations. I think you all did a fantastic job. I really did enjoy listening to your adventures as you start your careers in engineering. So my question is kind of a little bit weird. So I've had a lot of friends who started, female friends who started their careers in engineering. And after say 5, 6, 7 years, they said they had enough. So some of them kind of stepped back to be housewives, parents, moms. Some started their own business, and some just said, you know, that's it, I'm done. And some opened their own businesses, right? As young engineers starting off, do you think that's a negative step? And what are your general thoughts on that? Anyone?
Okay, a woman who decides to do anything with her life, I respect her for that. If she decides to leave engineering for mental health reasons, engineering, the oil and gas, like all of the other women panelists have said before, can be very difficult. Women and everybody now are deciding to take better steps for their own mental and emotional and health in general. I don't see it as a negative step for the women who have chosen to take those steps. I do, however, see it as something that we need to ponder on a little bit and ask ourselves why women have felt the need to leave, and hope that the need to leave wasn't because of extremely negative experiences, but I do think that if somebody does decide to leave, and if there's such a large number of them leaving, then we have to look at maybe the attitudes and the perceptions, as I spoke about in my slides, the attitudes and perceptions and just the general way that women are treated, the policies that are put into place to support or lack supporting women. And we do need to think about why, figure out why, and then find a solution for that.
That's some good points, Priyanna. I think I definitely agree with us taking a look at the reasons why, because definitely when we know the reason why, then we can come up with a solution. But at the same time, I know I have a few friends who are males and they left engineering to do farming simply because it's something that they don't see themselves continuing to pursue a career in engineering. And I think a lot of times that, and even for myself as well, I was pretty naive going into engineering as to what it entails, what the job entails, the demanding nature of it, how much things you have to continue learning, how much schooling you have to continue doing. So I think for us, it's just really having that open discussion with women who are about to embark into the industry about the realities of what it entails, and to also create an environment where we can have that discussion. And so if there's any barriers that they encounter and how we overcame it, so that they can probably learn from us, or we can also learn from them, from the situations that they encounter as well. Being a woman in hijab as well, it's been tough at some places. Luckily, not right. My job right now, I haven't faced any problems with that. But in situations that I know, I've had discussions with women who are going to pursue engineering who wear hijab. Let them know, this is what you might face and what you can do, because we face problems with logic, and that's how we come with solutions, discussions. And I think, people who decide to leave, we can't chastise them, we can't vilify them for their reasons, but if it's something that is because of the environment, as Priyanna mentioned, we should try and come to a solution as to the reason why, and not foster an environment where women feel the need to leave to do other things when they're probably passionate about being an engineer.
Onella, Kelly, any response to that question from Neil?
Evangeline, if you don't answer, I think I'm good. I think I got some really good answers from Priyanna and Alea. Unless Onella wants to answer.
No, I was just going to say that I think they covered most of the points already, the main issue.
Okay, good. So we'll take one last question here, and that's from Dara. And her question is, what are your hopes for the future of engineering? So I think that's directed to everyone on the panel.
Well, I feel like in order of things, I'm generally answering first. So the future of engineering, as I would have spoken about in my presentation, the future of engineering and any field for that matter should be diversity, inclusiveness, respect, and equity. Simply put, once all of those things are incorporated into any field, any career, any field of study, or any profession, I think that only good things could come out of it once those are incorporated.
I agree. Any of the other ladies want to give the question a go, or we good?
So during my presentation, I made mention of when I was job hunting, there was this instance where one particular company said that they're not hiring females. And that was about 3-4 years back. And I must say from then to now, and working amongst a lot of companies, you have seen diversification and equality. And I think that if everyone's continues with the same mindset, engineering will become something great, even greater to be exact. So I think diversification and equality is exactly what we need to continue with to make everyone feel comfortable in their workspace.
Yeah. All right. So before we close off, Alea and Kelly, you ladies have anything to add to that question, or we good?
missed the question there. I think my internet dropped for a few seconds. Could you just repeat it, please?
No problem. The question is, what are your hopes for the future of engineering?
I think Priyanna made a good point where she said that we want to move into a space where it's no longer female engineer and it's just engineer. And it's really about equality and equity at the same point, because we need to recognize each other's strengths and weaknesses and create a level playing ground for us to just do what we like and just continue performing and being good engineers. Yep, that's it for me there.
Agreed. Kieran made a comment in the chat. As a male, I think that the issues that women in engineering face not only in the workplace, but also in university and education. Many lecturers and peers can target and pressure women even before getting into the workplace. Just an observation and a note that we as men need to do better generally. Definitely agree with that, Kieran.
I think that that's an important statement, like I would have spoken about, that men need to get just as much, if not more, included and involved in the conversations surrounding equity and empowerment. So thank you, Kieran, for making that observation, and that is a big, strong and vulnerable thing to say.
All right, so before we end of the session, I'm just sharing my screen. Are you all seeing my screen?
Yeah. Oh, I got a certificate.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, so on behalf of the UTT SPE Student Chapter, we want to thank you ladies, Kelly, Onella, Alea, Priyanna, for really taking the time today. I know it was short notice, but you ladies were willing to be a part of this session, and I would say it was really impactful. We definitely learned a lot, and I mean, from this session, I would say I'm more empowered. So these certificates would be emailed to you all, and thank you very, very much for facilitating this for us.
Thank you so much, Evangeline, for reaching out, and thank you everybody for your attentiveness.
So one more thing before we end. Sorry, Alea, you was going to say something?
Yeah, I was just going to say thank you again as well, because I think, like I said, this is a really good forum, and I think you should continue doing it every year with women who are upcoming in the industry as well.
Yes. All right, so we just want to take a screenshot of our meeting, well, our session from today. So if anyone wants to put on their camera, so we can get a screenshot. You know, everything's virtual now. So Adrian, our vice president, will be taking the screenshot for us. So you let us know when you're ready, Adrian.
They are waiting for the participants to, put on your cameras. Don't be shy. We're all at home.
It's nice to see some faces.
Now I don't feel like I'm talking to a blank screen. This feels great.
Okay, so I'm not seeing anybody else playing on their cameras. Come on, y'all. As Priyanna said, don't be shy.
Nah, I never said that. I like to be shy for This is all your decision.
Okay, well, I'll take it with the ones that we have here right now. Okay, thanks, guys. So,
Tell me when you forget.
All right, I'll give it back to you, Evangeline.
All right.
Oh, it's done?
This concludes our session. So I hope you all have a good evening. And thanks again, everyone, for attending and coming out. Take care.
Okay,
Thank
bye,
you,
everybody.
everyone. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye.